A situation as a leader where you needed to reset your boundaries, perhaps with your team, maybe your business associates, or even some individuals that may be at a higher level than you in your roles. That is a very, very common situation that happens. And if you have found yourself clicking on this video, I want to say that you are absolutely meant to be here, friend. And I know this is a very hard topic, and I want to make sure that you have something to think about if you're in this situation where you are a leader, but you're trying to reestablish those boundaries with your team. So, if you like this information so far, friend, you absolutely want to watch this video until the very end because we're going to have a very good conversation about how to reset those boundaries as a leader. Now, I want to tell you that this video is a live video. Therefore, there is typically a point in time where the audience will join here on YouTube. And I like to say hello to everyone. Therefore, give me just a few moments so I can say hello. And then we're going to get into a couple strategies that will help you learn how to start resetting your boundaries as a leader when people become a bit too comfortable with you. Now, let me know in the comments below, has this ever happened to you? Has this ever happened to you before as a leader? I know it's happened to me too. And I will share with you, this is one of the hardest situations that you may face as a leader when you have not been consistent with how you want to be perceived. And then ultimately, what ends up happening is that you find yourself in a situation where you need to really reset your boundaries because you have some things you're working on, you're trying to elevate, etc. Now, if you are new to me, friend, welcome, welcome. I'm glad that you're here today. And if you are a subscriber or someone that watches my content, I'm glad you're here as well. I focus on those very advanced level communication skills that will help you stand out from your peers. My role here is really to help you learn how to communicate confidently and concisely under pressure as a leader. Now, the audience I work with directly in terms of my executive coaching and consulting practice are women in leadership. However, on many of the accounts that I have social media wise, I have many people in my audience that are women in leadership, that are men in leadership, or that are individuals that are not at that leadership level yet. And you will learn something from my channel. You're going to learn a lot of information. I guarantee you that you'll learn something that will help you communicate at a higher level than your peers. Learn from my over 20 years of experience as a C-suite executive, a manager, and a director to help you go to that next level in your careers. So I want to say hello, hello to those of you who are here today. Welcome, welcome. So I want to say first hello to can't hyphen X4R. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. And if you have ever found yourself, friends, in a situation where you need to reset your boundaries professionally, maybe with your coworkers or etc. Let's talk about that today. All right, so we have can't hyphen X4R says, what are you talking about? We're talking about how to reset boundaries. If you've ever been in a situation, can't X4R, where you're in a professional setting, you're a leader, and you found that maybe people are becoming a little too comfortable with you. They may be treating you in not the way that you want to be treated as a leader, and you're finding yourself that you have to reestablish those boundaries so that you can elevate in your career. This is the best place for you to be at. You're welcome to stay here and learn as much as you can from my over 20 years of experience as a C-suite executive, a director, and a manager to really help you learn how to communicate at a higher level than your peers so that you stand out from everybody else as a leader. That's what we're talking about, can't. All right, so we have Lindsay V. Andongen, I believe. If I said it correctly, I'm sorry about that. Hello, friend. How you doing today, Lindsay? Hope you're doing well. Can't X4R says, should I subscribe? I would say you should subscribe, can't X4R only This is the only reason you should subscribe to my channel, okay? You should subscribe to my channel if you are ready to elevate in your career in terms of how you communicate. If you know you need to communicate more confidently under pressure and you're not quite, maybe you know you're not doing as well with mastering eye contact as you like to, maybe you don't do as well in interviews, maybe you're at a point in your career, you're starting your business and you're trying to develop your voice and you need to be able to communicate at that advanced high level, then this is the best place for you to subscribe for. You're going to learn a lot of information. Sangeeth K S hyphen N5S. Hello, friend. How are you? Sangeeth K S hyphen N5S says, where are you? I am in the United States, friend. Let me know where you all are joining from today and what questions do you have about trying to reset those boundaries. Have you ever been in a situation where you needed to reset boundaries? Have you ever experienced a situation where people just seem like they were taking a little bit of advantage of you? Maybe they were not treating you properly, they were taking advantage of you, or you've noticed that people were treating you differently? Then let's talk about it. Let me know in the comments below if that's ever happened to you, because today I'm going to show you how you can start resetting those boundaries. We have Lorena Z3K. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. Can't X4R asked a question about subscribing, so I mentioned that to you. Carson Martin J9W. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? Thank you for the heart emojis, friends. And can't X4R says, should I subscribe? Absolutely. So can't I know you mentioned that you're a bit younger. If you're trying to learn how to communicate at a higher level, and maybe you're trying to learn how to just speak better with your friends and etc., then this will be a great place for you, friend. All right, we have Zaid West hyphen L dash L60. Hello, friend. Welcome, welcome. We have Blooney underscore OFC. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. We have Marcel Nagy hyphen EW1. Welcome, welcome. We have Lego Islam hyphen I5N. Welcome, friends. Hope you're doing well today. Miss trying to say something, not sure what's going on. Roger Smith 7038. Hello, friend. Welcome, welcome. Roger says, hi, girl. Hello, welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. And we have Kalina Rink. I'm gonna spell your last name, friend. Srbinovska. I do not want to mess your friend up, Kalina. Mess your name up, Kalina. I hope you're doing well today. Stacy 42 D6B is from Virginia. Well, fantastic. What part of Virginia? I used to live in Washington, D.C. I went to Howard University there for dental school, and I love the DMV area. But I'm in the sunshine state of Florida now. Kalina is from Macedonia. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing fantastically well. Thank you for stopping by the live today. We have Cassia Brower. Play some music. I don't have any music at the moment. I'm here really to help change your lives and help you become that better communicator. Kalina says, and you said it correct. Yes, I know the last name. I'm assuming that the S is silent or maybe somewhat silent. I'm not 100% sure, but I wanted to make sure I did not mess up your name, friend. I'm sorry about that. Stacy 42 D6B is from Portsmouth. Okay, fantastic. Awesome. Well, wonderful. I'm glad that you all are here today. So let's talk about trying to reset those boundaries. Have you ever been in a situation where you found yourself in a place where you needed to reset your boundaries? I have. I definitely have. And I want to share with you some strategies that will help you and give you a way for you to reset these boundaries as a leader. Now, oftentimes, what happens, this has happened to the best of us. This has happened to me early on in my career, which is why I don't want you all to make the mistakes that I have made. What happens specifically is that sometimes when we are stepping into leadership roles, you may be coming in as a person who is perhaps new to everyone, and you want to be the leader that everybody likes. Like you want to initially build that rapport with everybody and be in a place where everybody likes you. And that's very important. So, this is what you can try to do when you're stepping into those roles. And I appreciate the heart emojis, friends, and the smiley faces there. When you're stepping into those roles, make sure you're at a place where you're still building rapport with everybody and saying hello. However, what often happens is that we start to become a bit too lax in how we communicate with our direct reports or with the individuals that work with us and etc. So let's talk about when you've been maybe on your end, you've been a bit too friendly with your team and they've been a bit too friendly with you, but maybe you're at a point where you're getting a new project. I appreciate the heart emojis, friends. Maybe you have a bigger project you're working on, you're stepping into a new higher level leadership role, maybe you're starting your business and you found yourself in a place where you know you need to elevate. You know you need to go to that next level. So let's talk about that today. Let's talk about how we can help you reset those boundaries. So Kalina says, no, it's not like I'm trying to say Shrinvokoska. I know I'm not doing it right. The B is silent. Okay, fantastic. I'm sorry I'm not saying your name correctly, friend. I'm sorry about that. We have Brianna Ramirez hyphen F5M. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? All right. So most of the time, what happens to us as leaders is when we are starting new roles or starting new roles as managers or starting a businesses, etc. We are just trying to establish rapport. There is a certain level of likability that we're trying to have with the people they're working with. And I appreciate the hundreds emojis, friends. So we're trying to have some likability. Now, what happens when you're trying to elevate and you're trying to go to that next level? Most of the time, your mindset might be up here, but your peers are down here. And so you have been functioning at this level with them, you're trying to go up to that next level. So this is something that we have to talk about because you have to reestablish your boundaries in such a way to where you are at a place where you feel like you are elevating yourself. And so let's talk about how we can start doing that. Number one, you have to recognize and really be aware of the fact that maybe you have not been at a place where you are communicating and acting like the best version of yourself with your team. Now, some people will sit there and say, oh, we used to talk to her about this, or we used to talk to him about that. That happens often. And you have to understand that, first of all, you know that you haven't been where you need to be. And so now let's talk about some strategies to help you be able to reset those boundaries. So let me see what's going on in the chat. Hold on just a moment. All right, so let's see. We have Cassia Brower. Welcome, welcome. Cassia says, I'm younger in the fifth grade. Well, welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well and hope you're doing well with your grades, etc. So we have Boom Boom Doom hyphen G4L. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. 2004 Honda CRV opinions. I don't know if I have a lot of opinions about Honda CR-V. Hot cars are actually it's actually a hobby of mine, believe it or not. And I know if I talk about them, we'll get off track. But Honda CR-V, I mean, they're Honda's utility vehicles. Honda is a brand that lasts for a very long time. That would be the only thing I would say is that it's very, very good. Lord's Champion, hope you're doing well today. And boom, boom, doom. Get a Jeep Liberty. A Jeep Liberty. Okay. Well, Jeeps are very good vehicles to have also. I have a Jeep also. So, Lord's Champion, I'm not really quite sure what you're alluding to, but friend, I will let you know that we're here talking about how to help you be able to reset boundaries and I don't think that's necessarily entirely appropriate. Okay, so we have Kalina says, "Thank you so much for this dealing with depression, and this is helping." Oh, well, thank you, friend. I appreciate you, Kalina, so much for mentioning that to me, and really helpful to get that insight. And if there's anything you want to talk about specifically, even though I am an executive coach, be happy to help you any way that I can as we're talking about this during our lives. So if you have something that comes up, maybe want some insight on, I'm here to support you for the time that I have to help you get over maybe some of the challenges you might be experiencing right now. Okay, we have IXO Multic. Welcome back, friend. High five from here. How you doing today? Good to see you again, friend. Like for welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. IXO Multic. Our channel is growing a lot, significantly over the past couple weeks or so since you've been here. But I'm glad to see you back, friend. Really looking forward to some of your very. He always gives very insightful statements, poems, etc. So appreciate you being here, friend. We have OT456. This is AI. Okay, well, that's fine. Well, welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. Appreciate your heart emojis. All right, so we talked about number one. How can you reset those boundaries? The first thing you have to do is you have to acknowledge the fact that you may have been you have put yourself in this situation. Okay, there's no other way for me to say it. You have been the person that's probably not communicated at that very high level that you want to be seen as it relates to you being a leader. That is okay. So here are some strategies that you can do to start helping yourself to reset those boundaries. And if you have any questions specifically as it relates to this, just let me know in the comments below. Now, the very first thing that I did when I found myself in this situation was, one, I acknowledged that I've been making a mistake. That I've been not been doing everything correctly as I should have been. And I had to determine, how do I want people to perceive me as? Do I want people to perceive me as the leader that can get things done and get things taken care of? Or do I want to have people perceive me as the person that is a bit lax and a bit silly? Well, at that point in my career, I wanted to let you know that I want to be perceived as a leader. Therefore, there are certain ways that leaders communicate that are a bit different, or should be. Now, let me know in the comments below if you've interacted with leaders before that did not act like leaders. I know I'm not the only one. Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate the heart emojis and the celebration hats and the smiley faces, friends. Thank you so much. You have to communicate a little bit differently as a leader. So the first thing that I did, and the first strategy I would share with you, that one, we recognize we're doing something incorrectly. We need to reverse and try to reset those boundaries. The second thing you want to do is think about what it is that you feel is appropriate for you to talk to your team about as a leader. You may have been having conversations with your teams that have been borderline inappropriate. You may have. And if that's the case, this is something that you obviously want to try to work on and put yourself in a situation to say, okay, I know I used to talk to my team about what we did over the weekend and what kind of things we did after hours, etc. Maybe now, if I'm trying to elevate myself and reset those boundaries, I don't talk about those things anymore. Now, initially, it may sound a little bit odd. Your team or your business partners or etc., they may not really notice that you're not talking about these topics because people just they don't pick up on those subtle things initially, but you know internally that you are making that conscious decision to not talk about things in a professional setting that are not appropriate to talk about. Now, before I go into the second strategy that I use to help me be able to reset boundaries, let me see what's going on in the chat. We have Kalina. Kalina said, and 020T456, it's not you, but I can tell. I can't yell or make you say it, but if you think it's AI, you can think that. Okay, right, exactly. Understood. Thank you. The NIM 06, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing fantastically well today. Let's see. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but welcome. Hope you're doing well. We have Aru Selvan 420. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing fantastically well. And let me know if you have any questions as it relates to this topic specifically. And if you like this content so far, you like learning these advanced level skills that I know you were not taught in your educational settings, then you should absolutely subscribe to this channel, friend. This is the best place on YouTube, and I'm very confident saying that, where you will be able to learn as much as you can to really elevate yourself in your career. And if you are a woman in leadership, you are welcome to reach out to me for a strategy session in the description below. We can work together to help you elevate and go to that next level in your career so that you can communicate at a higher level than your peers, so you can speak confidently and concisely under pressure. That is something that is very important to me, and I want to make sure all of you, whether you're a woman in leadership, in my direct audience, I provide executive coaching and consulting services too, or maybe you are a man in leadership and you're not in my audience necessarily, but I'm here to support you regardless of who you are and where you are. I want you all to elevate yourself as leaders. We have Alice Bell One. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? And we have Clown Bazohaha. Boring. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Clown Bazohaha. Well, guess what, Clown? There's plenty other lives that are going on right now, friend. You don't have to be at this one. If you're trying to elevate yourself and how you communicate as a woman in leadership or a man in leadership, then this is the best channel for you, clown. But if you are not, and you're just trying to just go around and troll channels, there's other channels you can go troll, friend. All right, we have, let's see, the next person we have Abel hyphen N5E. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? And Abel says, God bless you. Well, thank you, friend. God bless you too. And Alice Bell one says, hi. We have Galaxy Thief. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. You said Expedition 33 wins all. I'm not exactly familiar with that, but let me know. All right. So Kalina says, so I have a question. Okay, friend, let's talk. Kalina says, I have a friend and he's a boy and we used to be close, but now he ignores me and I chance myself, but not fully, and hoping you can tell me how to get him as my friend or closer. Well, I will say this, Kalina. So this is definitely a interesting topic, and I appreciate you so much for bringing that up. I know you had some things that you were mentioning that you were had going on. I would say this is, and I don't know your situation in detail, just what you've shared with me, but I'll tell you something just from just years of experience that I'm sharing with you that is a bit outside of what I normally am talking about in terms of setting boundaries and elevating yourself as a woman in leadership. Now, when you have a situation where you have a friend that's ignoring you and etc., as you get older and as you grow and as you age, you may find you, I guess what I want to share with you is that if you have a situation like this and you have someone you're communicating with and it's someone that is that maybe is ignoring you or not paying attention to you, you probably want to just let that person go. Now, I know that may not be ideally what you're trying to hear, but I'm sharing with you not only as someone that is an executive. I worked as a C-suite executive for over 20 years, but I'm sharing this with you as someone who would be a friend. And I've been around. I'm I'm not like 20 years old. I'm much older than that. I have my own children and etc. But I just want to share with you. I just don't it's not the best place for you to feel like you have to chase somebody. Now, I know this isn't directly related to boundaries, but Kalina, because you mentioned you want me to answer this question, this is my question for you. This is my answer for you. Really think about yourself and your worth. And I'm sure you've done some really amazing things, Kalina. And I think if you're at that point where you're trying to grow and do better, that you will attract the right people that need to be around you at this particular point in your life. If it's somebody that you're communicating with that just happens to be ignoring you and you were close before and now you're ignoring they're ignoring you, the first thing I would say is maybe have a conversation and see how are things going. Maybe they're busy, maybe something in their life has changed. That would be maybe the first place I would start. If it's somebody you care about, maybe have a conversation, how are things going, what's going on, we haven't really talked that much, or etc. But then after that, if they still give you the cold shoulder, and especially I think this goes for any individual, but of course as speaking to you from the perspective of being of a woman, I wouldn't recommend to chase after somebody. If they're not interested in you or they ignore you, then you have to let them go. There's other people that are attracted to you that may be interested in helping you develop into that best version of yourself. Now, that's my very humble answer for you, friend. And that answer is coming from me living around life many times and knowing that, and this goes for whether you're a woman or a man, y- there's no need for you to have to just like chase after people. Like, I just don't believe in that life. I feel like there's so much energy you have to put out to do that. If something is meant to be, it's meant to be. And sometimes when we're younger, we don't really know that. I didn't know that. I've made mistakes like that in the past. And I share that with you, Kalina, because having a conversation and having some dialogue saying, hey, how things going? What's going on? We haven't talked in a while to at least get an idea as to what's going on. But then after that, if you don't have any additional conversation, I would just keep moving on, friend. That's just in my very humble opinion. And that's me talking to you as a friend. All right. So DL3472, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. A DL3472 says you have a list. Actually, friend, I do not. I'm actually a public speaker, and I would love to see what type of channel you have, since you're asking, making some statements like that. All right, so we have LeBron King 777. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing fantastic. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. All right, and LeBron King 777 says, I just had a soccer game, so I'm tired right now. I'm sure you are, especially if you've been running back and forth on the soccer court. I'm sure you're very, very tired. Let me know what questions you all have as it relates to resetting boundaries, friend. Let's go. Let's talk about a couple things so I can really help you step into a better place as we get to 2026. We're in 2025. We're about to go into 2026. And I want to make sure the leaders, the people watching this live that are really trying to elevate themselves and be able to communicate confidently under pressure, feel comfortable doing so. And I appreciate the heart emojis, friend. All right. Now let's see. We have Let's see. We had DL3472 saying some things that doesn't make any sense. So he is gone for the channel. We have Jade Hernandez 3942. Hello, hello. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? We have R_O hit. Welcome back, friend. Says laugh out loud. Hope you're doing well. OZN3T. Welcome, friend. Thank you for the compliment. Appreciate that. Kalina says, okay, thank you, but I wish I could explain the real full story and I'm not chasing him. I just feel really sad. And this happened after I came to Okay, so absolutely, we are friends for a year. I'll text him and we'll talk. Okay, awesome. We'll just see how things go and just maybe have that open conversation and have communication. That's I'm very big about that. Just communicate, talk about it, and just see how things go, Kalina. You're always welcome to reach out to me at Excite Excellence on Instagram, at Excite Excellence on LinkedIn, and also Dr. Jacinta Lamantai at LinkedIn as well. You're always welcome to DM me if you have any additional questions, friend. I'm here to help you. We have Peyton-J4K. Hello, friend. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. And Peyton says, do you want to know my YouTube channel? Sure. You can share your YouTube channel to the audience. Just let us know. And we have Kite Rackers. Welcome, friend. How you doing? Well today. How can we end feminism? Well, friend, I mean, there's plenty of other channels that you can go to talk about things like that. So there you go. There's plenty of things for you to do, friend. All right, bump two. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? I want to know what questions you all have as it relates to setting boundaries. So I shared with you specifically one of the things that came up for me. And if you like this content so far, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I talk about these type of advanced level communication skills and advanced ways to help you become a leader all the time. So let me know what questions you have. So I mentioned to you that a couple of things that I had to do, and I want to say hello to Stenero Stone Rolling BBY. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. Okay, so I mentioned to you, for those of you who have joined, the first thing you want to do is the first thing you want to do is you want to acknowledge the fact that you maybe have done something incorrectly and you need to change the way you are acting as a leader. Second is, if you've been too lax with your team in the past, this is something that you have to change. You have to change how you communicate. Those same conversations you had with people as a lead, as prior to your leadership or as a leader beforehand, that may be inappropriate, talking about what you did after work and all kinds of things like that. You have to stop talking about those type of conversations at work. It will help you to start resetting boundaries, and people will start to notice, oh, I remember we used to talk about this, about whatever topic it is, with him or with her. And I noticed they don't talk about it as much. I wonder what's going on with them. And so the next thing I did to reset those boundaries is, whenever those topics would come up, I would excuse myself from the room. Sometimes when you are in the room with people and they're talking about things inappropriate, even though you may not say anything, you are pretty much agreeing to being in the room and listening to that nonsense. And you want to be able to reset your boundaries. And a great way to do that is to try to just get yourself out of the situation. Take a phone call, go work on another project, or do something else. And another thing I want to mention to you, and I'm going to go to the chat in just a moment, to help you reset those boundaries, is that you have to be very, very concise and direct with your communication, because you have to understand when you're being too lax communicating with other people as a leader, it's going to take them time to learn how they need to communicate with you. And this is something that takes consistency in terms of how you can showcase that I am resetting my boundaries. There's certain topics that I'm not going to be talking about, but there's certain ways that I'm not going to be communicating with you moving forward. Now, let's go into chat. Let's see if we got some questions here. We have Mark Travis, 4381. Mark Travis, welcome, friend. How you doing today? And Mark Travis says, I went to the mall with my wife and I opened the door for a lady and she started cursing me out. Wow, really? That's Mark Travis. I don't know. If somebody did something like that, they have something else going on. I have no idea. I would just count that as somebody who needs help. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why somebody would curse somebody out for open the door. So, Mark, I think that was very nice of you actually to be able to try to do something like that. And for somebody that starts cursing you out for that, I don't just walk away. You know how sometimes when you're trying to really be that best version of yourself or be nice to people and etc. There's always these people that are just the specific word I want to say I'm not quite sure, but there's people out there that just want to drain your positive energy. And that happens to us as general people, but it also happens to you as a leader too. You find yourself you're trying to do something. I just had a conversation with a dear friend of mine. We were talking about this the other day, and I appreciate the heart emojis and smiley phrases and 100 friend. We just talked about this. They're trying to do something nice for their team, and their team is talking about just complaining about how bad the person was. And Mark, don't take that as how all people think and that all ladies are like that. I mean, obviously you have your wife, but just some people are just I the holidays have gotten to them. I don't know if you live in a cold state or a warm state. Either the cold has gotten to them or the warm has gotten to them. I don't know, but nonetheless, ignore people like that. That's all I can say, Mark. Okay, Mark Travis 4381 says, is chivalry dead? No, I do not think chivalry is dead. I just think the person that you happen to interact with is having a bad day. I don't know what's going on with them actually. And let me know what part of the big beautiful world you all are joining from today. But Mark Travis, I appreciate you for bringing that up, friend. And if you want to learn more information about how to really elevate yourself as a leader and communicate at a higher level than your peers so you stand out from everybody else, Mark, this is the best channel for you to subscribe to, friend. Appreciate you bringing that up because that's a really good topic to talk about. We have Stone Roland BBY says, how do you deal with social anxiety at work? Well, great question. Well, first, just because I'm a doctor, I'm not giving you medical advice. So I'm going to start there with that disclaimer first. However, my question to you from an executive coaching standpoint would be, what makes you feel anxious about your team at work? What is it? Is it the way people are talking to you? Is it something that they're doing? I appreciate the 100 emojis, friends. What is it that is making you feel anxious at work? That's how we work in a coaching setting. I'm not here to just give you guidance and tell you what to do. I'm here to actually help you to really dive deep and think about, well, what is it exactly? Now, of course, I can share with you a couple strategies as it relates to that. But if we're trying to really help you move forward, let's work on what the root issue is. What is it that is causing you to feel that way? What is happening at work that is making you feel just like, just really anxious about being there? There's something there, Mark. There's something there, Stone Rolling BBY. There's something there. Just let me know what it is. But there's different ways you can kind of deal with it. One is you want to find out exactly who it is that are individuals that you can work with that are supportive of you. And I appreciate the 100 emojis, friends. Who are the people that are supportive of you? And I would try to work with those people that you are maybe a bit closer with. They may not be your best friends at work. I don't necessarily think you necessarily need to have best friends at work, but I would find out exactly who are the people that you're comfortable with and try to spend more time with them. Now, if there are individuals that maybe you've noticed that seem to be positive people that you might want to interact with and get to know a bit better, then I would say monitor them and just observe. Because if you're feeling a bit anxious at work, some of it, especially if it as it relates to being socially anxious, I would say, it has a lot to do with things that may have happened in your past when you tried to communicate with people sometimes. Maybe someone gave you a hard time, or maybe they didn't reciprocate and communicate with you in the way that you thought they would. But there's usually something that happens. So it's really important to observe, because when you extend that energy to try to not be as anxious about being around people at work, then you want to make sure it's worth your time. You don't want to say something to someone and they put you back to a bad state and you're just like, oh, I knew I could never get over this social anxiety at work or anything like that. So you don't want to do that. But ultimately, let's talk about what is it that's making you feel that way at work, and then maybe we can dive a little bit more into it, my friend. We have John Van 2451. He says, hey, beautiful. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing fantastically well. We have Old Joe 947 says, I'm old. Well, welcome, friend. Glad you're here today. We have Kalina again. She says, it's 1 a.m. For me, and I need some support. I was crying and other stuff and study pressure. So, yeah, thank you so much. This channel helped me in one night a lot. Well, Kalina, well, first of all, I appreciate you, one, for even being here at 1 o'clock in the morning, because that just says a lot about you. And friend, I hope you're able to get some rest. You have so many wonderful things to do in your life. I just don't want you to be just bar bothered with something that, you may not necessarily have to worry about so much. But you're studying and etc. I've studied for many years as a doctor, and so I understand how long and how painful it can be when you're studying. I know I've had days where I've slept for 1 hour to take a test. I took a nap to take about 16 tests in a day. So I understand that study pressure, and I hope you get some rest, Kalina. Get some rest as much as you can. I talk about real strategies here to support my audience here, whether you are a man in leadership or a woman in leadership. Of course, my direct audience I provide services to are women in leadership, but you're welcome to just check out my live tab here. I have a lot of great lives that will help you to start to develop yourself as a woman, as you're trying to enhance yourself and really put yourself in a situation where you're feeling very confident about navigating these very challenging and complex situations that happen in life. I'm here to really help you learn how to communicate confidently under pressure. And when you're dealing with situations like you're dealing with now, you're dealing with pressures of school and etc. Friend, Kalina, you are under pressure. I know you're under pressure. And so being able to communicate in that way is what I'm here to support you with. Feel free to take a look at any of my live tabs. And if you have a question that comes up, friend, just put something in the comments below on the video, and I will do a video and give you a shout out just for you on my channel. Just take a look at my communities tab and I'll make sure I give you a shout out. So hope you get some rest, Kalina, and I appreciate you being here. We have Tyrone, the cream pie piper. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing fantastically well today. Let me know where y'all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. All right, we have K Francis 2329. People out here are people out here soft like tofu, social anxiety. Well, it happens, K Francis, and some people have different things that they deal with. And the thing that we have to understand is that we are individuals and we have to be very empathetic in terms of what people are dealing with. And we talked about this in a couple lives in the past, that one of the main qualities of leadership that is important that people have as leadership is the fact that they have to be empathetic. And that was actually the number one strategy that people that are leaders need to have, is empathy. We have to understand that people come from different places. That's just people. That's what I would encourage for you to think about. Everybody's coming from different places. We have to respect everybody. We have Pro Matthew. We have Pro Matthew Ola Prophecy 2. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? I hope I said your name correctly. I hope I did. All right, we have Jasmine Jensen 7896. Hello, welcome, welcome. Jasmine Jensen 786 says, "Hey, shout out from South Africa." Well, welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. I was just about to sleep, then I found you. What did I miss? Okay, Jasmine Jensen. Welcome, friend. I'm glad you're here. So the things that we talked about so far specifically are the following. We have talked about how to reset boundaries. The first part of resetting boundaries is to acknowledge, and this is for you as a leader. So the first part is to acknowledge that you may have not communicated in the way you needed to have very good boundaries. Number one. The second thing I recommend to do in terms of strategies to help you do this is to one, be at a place where you can really start to monitor what you need to say to your teams or your business partners or etc. Now, an example of this is if you've been more lax in your communication with your teams and etc., you have to become a bit more, I would say, polished in your delivery. And there's some conversations that you may have participated in the past that have been more lax. Maybe talked about what you did over the weekend and etc. and all this type of thing. You want to make sure that you are at a place where you're not talking about some of those random topics. And if there's something that's being discussed that's inappropriate as a leader, then you absolutely want to put yourself in a situation where you are getting yourself out of those particular environments, find something else to do, and then be very concise with how you are communicating. So I want to give you a quick summary of what we have discussed so far. That's what we discussed so far. So we have K Francis 2329 says women in leadership shouldn't be in the same sentence. Well, K Francis 2329, I want you to explain to me why you feel that way because my channel specifically helps people that are in leadership roles. I have women in leadership and men in leadership. And if you think women in leadership should not be in the same sentence, friend, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the wrong channel for you. There's other channels that you can go to and that you can visit, but would like to hear what you have to say in terms of why you feel like women in leadership shouldn't be in the same sentence. I'm a woman leader myself. I've been a C-suite executive, a manager, a director for over the past 20 years. I'm a doctor, and I've actually been able to interact with congressional leaders here in the United States at the national highest level of the United States and locally here in the Sunshine State of Florida. So to say that women in leadership, that's like saying men in leadership don't need to be in the same sentence. And that's not right. We know that there are women that are leaders of countries right now, friend. There are men that are leaders of countries right now. So I don't agree with what you said. Would like to see what it is specifically why you feel like women in leadership shouldn't be in the same sentence. And just for you to know, my business, I'm an executive coach and consultant, and I help women in leadership be able to communicate confidently under pressure. And I'm waiting to hear your response. I don't want to completely hide you from the channel because I want to hear your perspective in terms of exactly what it is that you feel that women in leadership don't go together. I'm just curious to know because my mind has never went there to understand something that sounds so completely ridiculous. So I'm waiting to hear a response. If not, I'll hide you from the channel because obviously this is not the channel for you, friend. We're trying to help everybody, whether you're a woman in leadership or a man in leadership. I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, just because I work with women in leadership, I'm not supporting men in leadership too. I'm here to help women and men because we need leaders in the world today, friends. We need people that know how to communicate confidently and concisely under pressure. And that's my mission here on this earth. So I still haven't heard anything. For those of you who are watching, this is what executive presence looks like. I know I'm very nice and I'm very kind and I'm here to support you all, but let me let you all know one of the things you have to learn as a leader is to be very observant with what people have to say. And you have to be at a point where you can figure out where someone's trying to be friendly or someone's trying to be completely obnoxious. And I gave this person the opportunity to speak and say what they have to say and explain why they feel like women in leadership can't be in the same sentence because obviously I'm a woman in leadership and there's nothing that they have to say. So you have to showcase your executive presence and be just as sharp and just as articulate as if you're having a good conversation with someone, especially in those situations where you see that someone is being disrespectful and being a bit rude. You have to be that same way. And this is how you build your executive presence. This is how, my friends, I'm showing you right now how you communicate confidently under pressure. This is what my channel is about, and this is why I'm so incredibly passionate about helping you all do the same. Because everybody that's subscribed to my channel or watching, you all are amazing leaders. The fact that you clicked on this title and it has leader in the title says basically that you want to be here. You want to be the person that is able to communicate at a higher level than your peers. And I'm here to support you, but I have to sometimes show you all in real time. This is how it's done. I have worked as a C suite, and so I have a different mindset, especially when it comes to things that just don't make sense. But I did give this person the opportunity to respond. They did not, and therefore they will not be on this channel anymore. All right, so we have Kalina. Kalina says, K Francis 2329, please stop saying that women can't be leaders. Well, Kalina K Francis has been hidden from the channel, so don't worry about that person anymore. All right, we have Chico KE8B. Hello from China. Welcome, friend. Hoping you are doing fantastically well today. I don't know what time it is in China right now, but I'm glad that you're here, friend. We have Jad MMMMM. I hope you're doing fantastic well today. Let me know what part of Big Beautiful World you're joining from. And also, let me know specifically what questions you have about resetting boundaries. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you have been in a place where you knew you needed to communicate differently and maybe people were becoming a bit too comfortable with you and etc., then let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about how we can help you reset those boundaries, friend, so you can step into 2026 in a better position. So Jad MMMMI says, "Do you like Trump?" Well, I can say that he is the president of the United States. He was voted in. And in terms of whether I like or not, I'm very unbiased as it relates to that. Ultimately, I believe that this is something that I mean, he's the president of the country. I think there's things we can learn from all leaders of countries, and there's things that we can learn not to do from leaders of countries. So that's just my very humble opinion. We have Yan Bakun. Okay, I'm gonna spell your name, friend. YANBAKUNAWA. Can women lead us to war? I believe that they can. They have in the past. And we have Rockabilly Grease 69 says something. I'm not sure if you're referring to me or somebody else, but we'll keep moving. We have D Mars 9284. Welcome, friend. How you doing? Fantastic. Hope you're doing well today. We have Jasmine Jensen again says respect. Well, thank you, friend. I appreciate that. And Mark Anthony 73949. Friend, we're talking about how to change people's lives. We're not talking about nonsense, what you have listed there. All right. Next, we have Khan Armand F9T. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing fantastically well today. Yes, so we've discussed a couple strategies, and thank you for the heart emojis, friends. We've discussed a couple strategies in terms of how you should be in a place where you can start to reset those boundaries. And if you've liked this content so far, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel. I am looking forward to really engaging with you and talking to you a bit more about this. All right, so we have Kalina says, "Is it dangerous to kick a woman in the stomach?" It's dangerous to kick anybody anywhere, so you definitely don't want to do something like that. All right, Demar says, "Is it dangerous to kick a man?" It's dangerous. Okay, I'm gonna say this: it's dangerous to kick anybody anywhere. It doesn't matter where, but anywhere. All right, we have TERPSLURP 710. Let's see, what do we have here? So I believe it's a joke. So I'm trying to help people be able to reset their boundaries, friend. All right. We have no one hyphen RZ2KU. Welcome, friend. Hope you're doing fantastically well today. So, yes, so we talked about a couple strategies so far. Let me know if you have any additional strategies in the comments below. There is something I do want to mention to you all that are still watching the video as you are stepping into 2026 as a woman in leadership or maybe as a man in leadership, there's a couple of things that I want to share with you in terms of 5 categories of boundaries that you absolutely want to work on for this upcoming year. And one of the categories of boundaries I want you to really keep in mind are the following. One, you need to think about your time boundary, your money boundary as number 2, your energy boundary as number 3, your professional boundary as number 4, and number 5 is going to be your personal boundary. If you start thinking about those boundaries as a whole, this is something that will actually help you to be able to Put yourself in a situation where you can try to move forward in 2026. Many times, and I'll share with you this from an executive coaching standpoint before we finish up the live. When I work with my clients in a one-on-one or in a group setting, many times when people come to me, they're at a point in their career where they just are not where they really want to be as leaders. They're just not where they want to be. And what happens specifically is that there's something that's holding them back from going to that next level. And a lot of times when I go back with them to figure out what is it specifically that's holding you back, what can it be? Many times what happened is that there's some type of boundary that they are struggling with to set that's preventing them from moving forward. Sometimes the boundary might be with them being at work and they are working overtime and they don't have enough time in the evenings to maybe take up a new hobby or something else that they like. And then the other thing that comes up oftentimes is that there may be something in terms of their finances where they just don't have what they need to have as it relates to their boundaries and etc. So work on these boundaries as you're navigating 2026. This is something that will absolutely help you be able to get some things accomplished. And if you're a woman in leadership, you want to get some support, contact me for a strategy session in the description below. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. Kalina says, oh, okay. Well, Kalina, make sure you get some rest, friend. I hope you have a good day. All right, D Mars 9284. No, D Mars, I cannot do a backflip, friend. I cannot. All right, so Multic says, what day will you talk about leadership in literature or Perry poetry? I mean, well, let me know if you have a specific leader that you want to talk about and what we can do because there's a lot that goes into leadership in literature and you have some really great insights and would really like to see if there's anybody specifically that you would like for me to talk about as it relates to leadership in literature. This is something I would be happy to do a video, a live or pre-recorded just for you, friend, so we can talk about it. But if you have somebody in mind specifically, just let me know in the comments below. But I will say, believe it or not, literature and leadership are are very, very, very much close to each other because some of the leaders that you see that are coming out over the past centuries, I would say, how did they become leaders? By what they were writing in literature. If you look at many, many people that have been leaders over the years, literature is a very, very important component as to why they are leaders. And so I feel like it is a topic that is definitely worth us having a conversation about because I focus on leadership as well. All right, so Multic. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. Let me know if there's anybody specifically that you think we should talk about. D. Morris says, I like your hair. Well, thank you, friend. I appreciate that. And IXO Multic says, what stupid comments from many people. I know IXO Multic is a regular here on the channel, and he's been a part of many of my lives. And I will tell you this, and this is something I'm just sharing with you all, and IXO Multic, I'm sharing this with you too, friend. As the channel grows, and the channel is growing. There we have over 600 subscribers right now, very close to 1,000. It will probably reach that hopefully here very soon. But I will say this that I have noticed as the channel grows, there's more people that are watching the lives. And I've been doing a lot of live streams, as IXO Multic knows that. And you just get more people that talk about things that are not appropriate or things that are very just not nice or just disrespectful. It just comes with the territory of being an influencer. It does. You have people, the more people that are visibly see you, the more people have things to say that are inappropriate. Just as you mentioned, the stupid comments that we've seen. We've seen some comments that are not appropriate, and that's okay. This is just part of the life of being an influencer. You have to be able to manage these situations quickly as you can and take care of them and just make a good experience for your audience. We address those comments, we move on, we keep going. But all right, so Multic, I have to be honest with you, friend. Since the channel has grown and has been growing significantly since probably the last time you were on the live, I have seen a lot more comments like that. For instance, last night we had someone, believe it or not, friends, that was typing very offensive words to me, my ethnicity specifically, in the comments. And the part about it that was interesting is that this person was obviously trolling the live, but this person kept typing the words in that were very offensive. And they were going in on from different accounts doing it. So I was doing my part on my end on live. I have the ability to hide people from the channel and remove their comments and etc. But this person had multiple accounts where they just kept typing this offensive word to me as my ethnicity, and it's inappropriate. But literally, I the first time it happened, and I was talking to Pratik Galatkar about this because he's trying to start his live channel and do more things on YouTube. I mentioned to him, I said, when I this happened yesterday. When it happened initially, when I saw it, I said, okay, I'm just gonna hide this person, right? And just keep going with the live. But then the name came up again. And I was like, how are they able to keep doing that? I hit him again. And then the name came up again. And I'm like, how in the world are they able to do that? So then I started looking, and literally, friends, and this is just FYI, if you plan on doing anything on YouTube, you have to be ready for it. YouTube is like the wild, wild west, as we say here in the States. You're out in front of everybody. Now, the person had the same name, but they changed the ending of it and put a number and different numbers around it. So when they were commenting, it was coming from a different person, but they were just straight trolling live. That's pretty much what they were doing. So those things you have to keep in mind. This is going to happen IXO Multi as the channel grows and as I'm doing lives. Don't worry about it. We're still going to learn a lot of information so that you can go to that next level in your career. All right, so let's see what's going on. We have IXL Multics is at D9284, and I love her nose. Well, thank you, friend. I appreciate that. Bella Grace hyphen KK3BQ. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? Bella says you are so pretty. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And D Mars 9284 says number two. And D Mars 9284 says crazy. And it must be someone that I think you're saying message, maybe someone you know. Eh, when you have those situations, it just comes up. You just do it as best you can. I know some people that were on the live said, why you keep saying this type of word specifically? So it's something that you might want to keep about. All right. So IXO Multi says, for example, what has universal literature taught you in your field, female leadership? Well, I've learned one of the things that I have learned is that literature and being able to communicate as a leader, as a woman in leadership myself, or even if you're a man in leadership, is that there are certain ways that you can communicate with an audience, but the most important thing, if you're trying to communicate with an audience as a whole, is being able to understand how can you capture their attention. And I would say when you think about literature, you're thinking about pieces of art, you're thinking about poems, and what do you feel when you read a poem? What do you think about when you read a poem? What are you envisioning as you read a poem? And when you think about leadership itself, regardless of if you're a woman in leadership or a man in leadership, these aspects of literature, whether it's a poem or if it's some other type of work, they all have a core message of communicating to someone something, whatever that thing is. And when you are communicating to people as a leader, and you are a public figure and maybe you're in an elective office or etc., how people feel when they are speaking to you plays a big role in terms of how people want to trust you. And as I was mentioning earlier, there are many, many leaders centuries ago that wrote literature. That's how they communicated, was through literature. And they were able to get people to learn from them, to trust them, to work with them so that they could make whatever big impact they're doing at the time. So to answer your question, you leadership is universal. Literature is a huge part of that. And when you're speaking in public, and I've been a public speaker for over 20 years, and I've been on the news and I've done other things, but keep in mind how you communicate and how you engage with your audience is really important. In literature, does that too. When you think about alliteration and different types of words and works that they do in different types of forms of literature, you have to think about how do you feel when you read that? How does it make you imagine things when you read something as it relates to literature? How can this help you become a better leader? So that's just my very humble opinion. I just believe that literature itself is helpful not only to women in leadership, but it's helpful to men in leadership as well, because this is how you learn how to captivate your audience. And when you are a leader and you're trying to elevate yourself and go to that next level, you having the ability to captivate your audience is at the top, because no one wants to listen to you if you're not captivating them and they don't want to hear what you have to say. This is really important as a leader. Even when you're working with your teams and you're trying to get them to be on board with your vision and etc., you want to captivate your audience so that they feel like, yes, I can do this. I can do this. Now, you all can let me know if there's any leaders that you think of right now when you listen to them speak and talk and you hear them, you feel inspired by. Maybe there's someone that you have heard speak and you feel very motivated by them. Let me know, because I'll be happy to do a video on that person and give you some insight in terms of the strategies, the techniques, what they are doing that are inspiring you to want to do better. Why do I do this? So that I can show you what they're doing so that you can learn how to do it yourself, so that you can be that person that inspires other people. Let me know in the comments below. We have WAQASULLAH hyphen G6H. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? And this person's asking from where are you from, dear sister? I believe that's what you're saying. I am from North Carolina, but I'm here in the United States of America. So let me know what part of the big beautiful world you all are joining from. And if you have any other questions about how to really set those boundaries. We talked about it quite a bit already. We've had some other dialogue about talking about different scenarios and etc. that's happened. And I really just appreciate all of you for being here on the live and learning as much as you can. If you have questions specifically, how to really navigate this, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to help you and guide you any way that I can to help you during the wonderful world of leadership that you are in. Remember that how you communicate really does make an impact. Just as IXL Multic mentioned before about literature, all of these forms are way for you to communicate with other people. And if you can start communicating at a higher level than your peers, you will stand out from everybody else. Whether you are a established leader and you're a C-suite executive like myself, like I was, or maybe you are trying to go into a salary negotiation and you just don't know what to say. Maybe you're going into an interview and you feel very nervous and you're not sure how to do it. Maybe you're a leader and you're trying to manage a difficult conversation, or you have to do some hard discussions with individuals. All of these things are communication, and this is what I focus on my channel to help you have those skills that people usually don't talk about in the day-to-day setting. And this is the best channel on YouTube to learn that. All right, we have YAY 24 says, let Jesus be the only one to inspire you. Well, Jesus was a great inspiration to many, many people, friend. That is for sure. So Multic says Jesus's leadership. So question mark about that. So let me know what your thoughts are on that specifically. There's people that obviously believe in Jesus and the leadership lessons that were taught by Jesus and etc. So I believe that's what YXYAY 24 is talking about. Okay, so IXO Multic says, I can assure you that someone has already written about leadership in Jesus Christ. Yes. Oh, I'm sure. Yes, of course. I'm sure that they have, probably a million times over at this point. Well, I appreciate you all so much, and the channel is growing. So if you have any friends or colleagues that are interested in trying to advance how they communicate as leaders, send them our way and we'll have some great conversations there. I do have a few exciting things that are happening on my channel. There's a couple of things that I'm going to be showcasing to you all here very soon. I'm doing a lot with my business here locally in the Sunshine State of Florida, specifically in South Florida. So I'm going to show you all a couple of pictures of a few graphics that I have and etc. just to help you all go to that next level to see what I'm doing here and how you all are part of a very big journey that I am on here as well. Now, I appreciate you all so much and I appreciate you for having the great dialogue and being here. IXO Multic, it's so good to see you again, friend. Let me know if there's any leaders specifically that you think we might want to talk about. Let me know, especially as it relates to literature. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. If you can let me know maybe in the next minute or so. If not, just type on any one of our videos here. You can put something in the comments. Let me know what leaders that you admire or inspire as it relates to literature that we could probably talk about as it relates to developing ourselves as leaders. And maybe we can pull some things out of what they say and establish some ways to be able to really engage our audiences and provide them with an amazing experience as we're looking at different individuals that are present that are leaders that heavily focus on literature. Let me know in the comments below. So I appreciate you all for being here today. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you are new to me, I go live typically Tuesday through Friday in the morning, in the evening, and I'm here to really help you and answer the questions that you have as it relates to leadership and communicating at a higher level than your peers. I'm here to support you any way that I can on your journeys, friend. So I will see you all in the next live video. And until then, have an absolute amazing day. Bye for now.